Okay, one last graph for Monopoly. We're going to take a look at how the marginal revenue curve dictates elasticity and total revenue. Now this is the demand and marginal revenue curve for a Monopoly graph. I decided to leave off your marginal cost curve and ATC curve just to make things a little bit clearer. So what we get here is we have our marginal revenue curve that is below our demand curve, and what we know from the lectures earlier in the unit is that when marginal revenue is positive, that means the additional revenue received from selling the next unit is a positive. That means that a couple things. So this whole segment of our demand curve is what we're talking about here, because that is where marginal revenue goes negative. This portion of our demand curve is elastic. That makes sense because we know from our supply and demand unit that if a good is elastic and you cut the price, then your total revenue is going to increase. Alright, so and marginal revenue, as long as it's positive, is increasing total revenue. Marginal revenue means the revenue of the next unit sold. Alright, so if we sell one more unit and we get marginal revenue, that is adding to our total revenue. So as long as marginal revenue is positive, we are in the elastic portion of our demand curve. So marginal revenue greater than 0 means elastic, and it also means total revenue is increasing as we cut the price. When we get to the point where marginal revenue is equal to 0, where it crosses the x-axis, this point is our point where we are unit elastic. Alright, so at 0 we are unit elastic, and that is where our total revenue is at its max. Alright, it can't get any bigger than that. Alright, it has gone up, 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 and we get to this point where marginal revenue is equal to 0. That means that the next unit doesn't give us any additional revenue. So we're at the top, we're at the maximum amount of revenue that we can achieve as a firm. Once marginal revenue then goes below 0, we enter the inelastic portion of our demand curve. And again, that makes sense. Alright, if marginal revenue is negative, that means each additional unit takes away from the revenue that our firm is gaining or has received. So total revenue is maxed here. Any additional units will actually make us go down in revenue. So marginal revenue less than 0, we are inelastic, and we have total revenue is going down as price goes down. Because remember, total revenue moves in the same direction as price if the good is inelastic. You say, why would anyone ever want to produce here then? Why would a firm want to maximize its revenue as opposed to making maximum profit, which is what we look at when we look at MR equals MC? There are a few reasons why you would. One of those reasons might be that you're trying to crush someone who's trying to enter the industry. Monopolies are usually protected by all their barriers to entry, but occasionally a firm will try to make a run at a monopoly. So if you maximize your revenue, even if you're taking a hit, sometimes in terms of profits, sometimes you're able to force that other firm out of business by doing that. So that's one example of why they might do that. It doesn't make a lot of sense. You'd still, as a firm, rather maximize your profits, but if there's a danger out there to those profits, you might be willing to just worry about revenue for a little bit and crush your competitors. With that, that is it for the Monopoly graphs, and I think we have a few left for monopolistic competition, and that is it. Okay, bye.